Hey everybody, it's Sunday. Microphone's all the way over there. Sorry. I just got back from Liam. I don't know, maybe an hour or so ago. Just getting settled in. Had a whole bunch of TRI meetings and stuff earlier today, which I think was really good time invested with Team TRI because we got a lot of stuff on the go right now. So didn't do a broiler chicken show, and I missed our little trading meeting, so I apologize, James and Jeremy, if you're in payment, if you're watching this later. Been kind of a crazy day here today. Anyway, had a really good afternoon with Liam, so that's always good. Puts me in a good frame of mind. So sort of back in the saddle. Came back. Obviously, you can see. I usually have a few messages awaiting me when I pop back on the site. So great work from everybody. Great to see the enthusiasm. Joshua, thank you so much. I really love the positive feedback. It fills me with enthusiasm and vigor to keep trying my best here for you guys. So it's about 7 o'clock on the West Coast, Sunday evening. We're about 2/3 of the way through the current. Jesus, these messages go on and on and on. We're about 2/3 of the way through the current term, school-wise. So you might find Brian's maybe a little bit burnt out a little bit as we're coming into the home stretch. Bear with him. Bear with me. And also too, we've got a whole bunch of stuff on the go. So we got a lot of moving parts going on. So it's going to be a really interesting few months ahead of us. So, stay tuned. Somebody had mentioned earlier today that the altcoins had disappeared from the screener. Both Julian and I brought that to Sierra's attention, so I apologize for that. But we're still we got a lot of stuff on the move here. So, but that was duly noted. Thank you for mentioning that, Michael. I appreciate that you saw that. Obviously lots going on in crypto land. Usually, what I do for these weekend shows is talk a little bit about crypto. It's quite remarkable. Bitcoin, of course, here while I was out with Liam has gone. You can see we're going to have to adjust these levels. It's gone and made a new high. Interesting, though, too. Notice how when I do draw the levels, reload zone didn't move a heck of a lot here. And now, how ironic. I wonder if Roham talks to his cousin about this was GS's big call at $3,000 bottom. Just so recently, eh? Isn't this remarkable? And guys, let's face it, this is such the hallmark of the end of the move, eh? I mean, prices don't move like this normally. We spent a hell of a long time here. I mean, a long time just sort of going sideways. So at some point, of course, we'll go back into this kind of market state, but it's not now. Enjoy it. Rock on. I hope everybody's, feeling pretty good about the idea that they got involved in the crypto space. And frankly speaking, I don't think it's in any of our best interest to be calling tops. This thing's going to top out where it decides it wants to top out. A couple references, though, that I did notice that happened here recently that kind of line up with some of the things, some of the shenanigans I see that happen in crypto. And I think we have to be, worried, cognizant of the fact that, number one, we've now, with this move up here to new highs here today, we have finally now met Brian's 1.6186220 objective. I was wondering how or this was going to play itself out and whether we were actually going to hit it. And sure enough, I've seen this happen so many times where we go up just underneath this and then back off, and everybody's like, oh, that's the top, and it's just like, nah, just wait for it. And sure enough, there it is. The irony of it all is, and this is such a sad commentary of crypto, I suppose, we had an order I've been telling you guys that I do have orders working here all the way up. We do have an order working at 62.50 for a half a Bitcoin to sell them some. And you can see the high here on stamp 63.16. So it comfortably exceeded that. But on good old Tether, these SOBs, 24-hour high, 62.40, right underneath our level, jerks. So still not selling any. I still have and I got another one sitting at 63.50 area here. And frankly speaking, our conversations about megaphones, anybody who's traded megaphones and been with us for a while, there's no reason why we can't get some sort of crazy orgy blow off top here and run up. There's one site member that we have who has had, and I thought is really interesting target just simply because of the psychological significance. His target has been 6666 all along here. And frankly speaking, that wouldn't surprise me if that's it. That would be perfect. That would be poetic. And our megaphone here, top of the parking garage, we could have a blow off top here all the way up to about 69.87s, 200% easily. It could easily happen here. So as I said, I am ready to start spoon feeding some more coin up top here. I'm not selling everything, and the great part about it is we got paid a whole bunch of money from one double that we banged off recently. So it's just converting profits into cash, in the cash proxy, the silly Tether. And I'm more than happy to keep spoon feeding the market. That's been my message all along here. I don't think I really want to change that. I think, a couple of interesting things that jumped out at me here recently. If we look at the period of consolidation, the period of rally, then the period of consolidation, we're getting a very similar sort of pattern here, period of rally. Sure feels like the apex of this is somewhere up in this area. And it might even be a tag of the conjunction of these two trend lines. That could very easily be the case right into there, which would sort of bring us to that natural sort of end of that rally window. So what is that? That's November 6th and 7th. So what is that? That's basically 1 week from today. Michael, you're pretty crypto smart. Benjamin, you probably know the answer to this. When is the big forking event? There's a goddamn forking event. Can you say that? You forking loser. 16th. Oh, okay. So quite a ways away. Maybe we get one of these crazy pre-fork rallies. Who knows? And it consolidates up into that. But I'm kind of thinking that, anywhere up in this area, I think is totally realistic. It's not out of the question. So actually, this sort of leads me to the question of what I actually think is driving price right now. And I noticed that price really bottomed and started to take off here. And it was beautiful because I woke up this morning and the first thing that I woke up to when I came into the lounge, it was so cool. People were like, "Hey, Brian, there's a bot. There's a bot. Check out the bot. Check out the bot. Look." And I was like, yeah. If you're a bot trader, traders got to trade. I was so impressed with the community, how quickly you guys are picking up on this. It's fucking awesome. Excuse my French, but it just really is. Looking at this price pattern here, the consolidation to me kind of looked very head and shoulders-y. You can see this cute little double bottom in here and then another bottom off of that. You could even argue that's probably a Kavark if we zoomed in on that really closely. So great anecdotal evidence. And I often even suggest to people, and maybe, those that are working with the bot and that want to refine, get, nice and fine-tuned, is if you see the levels come in, you just simply say, all right, fine. Okay, I got double bottom, got this bottom, okay, there's the breakout level. Maybe I missed it. I'm either going to just work my order at that level, and you can see in through here, you get your fill. You just simply say, look at the next fractal, I'm in, right? So that basically just gets you in off of this little fractal pattern right there, which is basically that level. And it was quite interesting to watch price just absolutely surge, boom, just straight up. And it was interesting because I was sort of, okay, fine, stop to scratch, levels hit, don't need to worry about it. Just let, price calm down here a little bit. Absolute worst case scenario, get stopped out of scratch and just walk away. And then, and I was actually in our meetings and then getting ready for Liam, and then all of a sudden the market ratcheted up here. And frankly speaking, I was quite shocked at how quickly this repricing event took place. If anything, also too, hopefully you guys can see, this is a little bit of a, this is actually what they call a bull flagpole. But this is an AB equals CD unto itself, there to there, boom, boom. But this is also, if you want to take a screenshot of this, just stop the video. Great example of a what they call a bull flag. So we have a nice little, you could call this a, some people would call it a pennant. Right? Can you see that consolidation? Can you see the flagpole? So the distance from the bottom, really probably of this candle right here, I think, because that's sort of the bottom of the swing move, up to the top of the flagpole consolidation. This should actually go off of the flagpole breakout, like right there, that distance. So that's up into there, and gee whiz, that's up into that bot target. So great example right there, everybody, of a nice little working example of a bullish flagpole. Really cool. So where are we now? There's a couple, there's one more big AB equals CD. You can see boobity boo, boobity boo. That could take us up into this area. That's 64.43. I'm kind of thinking that's totally realistic. Could we be done here and just start to melt away? That's absolutely realistic too. I think, horizontal support and resistance, the head and shoulders. The market had the opportunity if it wanted to go down here. It had the opportunity, but it just simply ran out of sellers. So it looks to me in the short term like there's a serious base here around, 5,700 or so. I suppose for the day traders, man, this was beautiful. Hopefully you can see just a nice simple range, low of the range, high of the range, low of the range. You can see the MACD coming in and forming this bullish divergence, and the divergence was actually confirmed through here. So before this double bottom even fired, the divergence was in. Willie's nice and stupid. How many people do we have watching this? Is anybody watching on the, I doubt it, maybe. What page is that? That's over here. I doubt anybody's over here. So it's just sort of you guys that I'm chatting with. Hope you guys are enjoying this. There we are. Oh, nobody over there. If somebody wants to, we'll throw that in the lounge. So at least you can watch it later. Where was I? I'm here. All right. Yeah, the only person that matters. Really? You've never heard of a bullish flagpole before? Really? Just as chickens. Oh, that's good. I remember one time, funny story. I was at boarding school back east, and you're supposed to go on a road trip locally, right? And all the kids locally, they all went to like university. This was in St. Catharines, Ontario, Southern Ontario. They went to like University of Western Ontario in London, Ontario, and visit University of Guelph and McMaster and Hamilton and stuff. Brian, he gets on a plane, and I visited University of Victoria, UVic, and UBC, and then I went down to LA and I visited USC. That was my itinerary. And really, the only reason why I did it is because I wanted to take a trip out west, right? So I could justify it with these stupid university tours. But anyway, that's here and there. So back in the day, and this is back in like the mid 80s, right? Victoria was dead. It was like a one-horse town. And I remember I flew into Seattle, And I took a little. At that point, I actually had to take a prop plane from Seattle to Victoria. That was the only flight service from Seattle to Victoria as a prop plane. And I flew in. I got into Victoria at about, geez, I don't know, 11, 12 o'clock at night or so. And I walk off the plane into the terminal. It's dead quiet. I mean, like total like Victoria back in the early 80s, you literally rolled the sidewalks up at 9 o'clock at night, right? I mean, literally the whole city shut down. And I get off the plane, I come in the terminal, and there's these three cabbies, right? And I'm like, well, geez, where is everybody? And the guy goes, oh, nobody here but us chickens. So that's a memory from like, Jesus, probably 30 years ago. Thanks, Garrett. Anyway, everybody watching the video goes, what the hell does that have to do with trading? And this is where, Julian and Mo and stuff are like, Brian, you're supposed to be trying to make this like a 30-minute broadcast, not tell us the story of your life. Anyway, so long and short of all this is bullish divergence, Willie stupid, nice big range. And what was really interesting is if you just did a nice simple 2-to-1 off of this double bottom, it painted a target here. And the 50% level was like right here, and 61.8 was right here. So, to all intents and purposes, I was more than comfortable with the idea. Anybody entertaining this idea. I think on balance, I would qualify this as an El Tangonator if you want to take a screenshot. There it is. Some beautiful, glorious Technicolor. In fact, here, why don't we just take a screenshot? And the cool part about this setup, this is what I really love about this setup, is you didn't even have to trade the original double bottom. Actually, yeah, let's move this over. Right? You could have let the rally happen. And who do we have in our community who likes to go and throw his bids in off of like things like 78.6 levels? Do we have any fun name for traders like that? Like, can you see how really what we do here, guys? It isn't anything different. It's the same poop, different pile. And that's what I really like about this setup was the fact that you could have just simply said, you know what, I'm not going to chase this. I'm just going to work my order, and I'm going to take the original setup and just live with the results. Also, too, I think this is a great analogy of, maybe I'm going to buy the double bottom, and I know what my risk is. If I get to 2-to-1, I'm going to take at least like partial profits, and maybe like book half and just put my stop to scratch on the remaining, and just see where the wind blows you. In this particular case, you might have done that and been stopped out on your remaining. You never know. I mean, there's a million different ways to skin this. But I sure do love how this thing pulled right back into that original double bottom, right into the reload zone. Basically gave you another opportunity if you wanted to get in on this thing for this trade. So cool. So hopefully you guys can see, W's, right? W's, reload zone tags. Maria, I suppose this was probably a reload zone off of this range. Hell, I think we have somebody in here who's super jazzed about these lately. Can everybody see this? Like just totally sick setup here. Let's say we were coming down into a level that you were interested in off the higher time frame. Looks like we have a trend line here working. And look how we could go zoobity zoo. And you got to do the sound effects. Didn't quite get down into Kavarkanator. But look how there was this gap right here. Look how they brought the market down and just simply by closing this candle body here and then opening here, they basically just filled the hole in. Isn't that cool? If you had balls to grab that 61.8 anywhere in here, wow. And I always, if you guys can, try and practice this, right? Hunt your trade setup, especially if it comes into a reload zone. Hunt your trade setups off of the candle body lows. Notice here how, oh, gee whiz. Hello. Can everybody see how they've basically said that, we're coming back here? Can you see that? Isn't that incredible? So don't be shocked if you see 52.73 on OK Coin Forwards again. Wow, that sure is an important level in there, right? There's a lot of business going on down in there. And then notice here, like those candle body levels again. Notice how that's right off of that double bottom. Notice these candle body levels too, right? That would have been just, oh my goodness, the sickest trade. So if you can try and incorporate those candle body levels when you see that sort of just, sawed off level there, really powerful concept. So where do I want to go with all this? I think on balance, long setups through the weekend have played themselves out. I think probably the New York boys and the London boys. Keep in mind, New York boys and London boys, they love to put pivots in the markets Tuesdays and Wednesdays. See it so often. I had actually posted before I left for Liam a chart that kind of looked like this. That's what I thought they were going to do. I really didn't think they were just going to go straight up. So, be prepared for, some action, especially, Halloween is Tuesday night. I wouldn't, I'd be surprised. It'd be kind of a fun sort of anecdotal piece to actually see how many people for Halloween go as Bitcoins, right? We'll know we'll know sort of quote unquote acceptance if you hear a lot of anecdotal evidence that everybody and their brother went as some sort of cryptocurrency reference. So everybody keep that'll be sort of your special assignment for the coming few days. Everybody keep an eye out for that. Just sort of, get sort of this should be a really good sort of, we can get a gauge of the Joe Six-Pack, how they're thinking. And if you see tons of anecdotes, lots of stories of people going as Bitcoins and whatever forks and stuff like that, then that's probably a sign of saturation. If it's still sort of like, what the hell is that? What? Then that tells me we still got a long way to go. So everybody, especially, guys who have all the chicks and stuff chasing after them, like Michael and Kevin and stuff, you guys, Benjamin, right? You keep your nose to the ground for me, okay? You guys are all party guys. I'm too old to do that kind of nonsense. So, the simple summary about today's sort of video is long anticipated harmonic objectives have now been hit. What does a top sort of look like? Could we rally another $1,000 from here? Sure. I really, really think buying Bitcoins in here is not a good idea at all. Could the price go higher though? Sure. And the interesting thing is the actual time when to buy Bitcoins, when Brian's going to say, man, you know what, it's not a bad idea in here. That's going to be the time when nobody in the public is interested. Please understand that. And if anything, when the public's kind of freaking out. Notice, interesting how previous reload zones, right? This was that Goldman Sachs bottom we were talking about. That lines up nicely with a line in the sand right now. And of course, what I find really interesting is the confluence of these trend lines seems to be awfully coincidental. Guys, quite literally, there could be some big-ass fucking shit about to happen here. Be careful, please, everyone. As I told you, I'm actually spoon-feeding the market more coins up top here if we do go higher. And I really technically should already be getting fills. Silly tether. Somebody asked, Brian, can you give an update of things that you've been buying recently? It's really, and also before we leave Bitcoin, just this general thought: what is driving price here? Does anybody notice that? And I'm actually surprised. I just didn't see much notice on Twitter really over the weekend as I thought. But this director of the FBI, previous director, who's been sort of asked to probe the Russian Trump connection through the election, is going to actually is not only recommended, but the grand jury in the United States is going to hand out some indictments here. Nobody really knows what specifically they're pertaining to, but I noticed that literally on that event, Bitcoin caught a bid on Friday, and we've been working our way higher since then. So I have a feeling, of course, the euro looks like poop right now. It just looks horrible. It's kind of a clumped. I missed the short trade, but feeling pretty proud of myself that at least I was advising people to look for a top. So it's not like money's going to be flowing into euros right now. And if you have a scandal in the White House and indictments are being laid, that's not going to lend a lot of confidence in the U.S. dollar. The consensus basically is Janet Yellen's done in February. So you're not going to get a lot of big vote of confidence out of the Fed until this new guy's been tested. Put it all together, guys. This is almost like the perfect scenario for this fear apex peak. Everything is falling into place, and seeing Bitcoin have some sort of horrendous face rip rally higher because everybody's lost complete confidence in the White House and has lost complete confidence in Draghi and the euro. Where else are they going to go? And here's it. I was thinking about this in the shower today. Here's a kick in the pants. Do you guys see who the ultimate winner here at the end of all this geopolitically is? Did you guys see the tweet that I put out? Geopolitically, Kevin, come on. Oh, that's adorable. Love you, babe. But who's the big? No, it's not China. Did you guys see my tweet? This is the irony out of all of this. Is the sleeping giant, in my opinion, is the big winner. And oh, by the way, the founder of Bitcoin, what nationality was that guy? But I get the distinct impression. What the hell is it? Well, this is what I love in altcoins. This is what I think. I love this. This is total altcoins right now. There's Michael in there, right? Hey, to hell with you, Ethereum. You suck. What's the one that you like, Michael? XLM? Isn't that the one you like? Yeah, so Michael's in there. But that's another one altogether. But where the hell did that damn tweet go? Jesus. Anyway, it was a tweet that basically said that all the business in that was in China is going to Japan now. I don't know where that tweet went. I think, and the irony of it all is I think Japan is in an absolute power position now with regard to Bitcoin and crypto. And this kind of, this is, here it is. This link here, we're back. China's largest crypto traders are relocating. Guess where they're going? Nah, a lot of them are going to Japan. At least that's what these guys say. And really, that's what I see. I see tons and tons of crypto references out of Japan. Yeah, look at that, eh? Boom. So, yeah, well, and it's weird. It's sort of like, I don't know whether, is anybody here a history buff of Japan and Korea? It's weird, like, Korea's looked down like almost like the dirty cousin of the Japanese. Have you guys, are any of you guys, did you watch any, did you read any of Kaval's? Yeah, it's kind of like Ireland to the UK. Same thing. Very similar. Um, so it doesn't surprise me if Japan's getting a real shot in the arm with regard to Bitcoin that Korea's kicking in. South Korea, right? So my feeling here, and there's even a line in here where the guy specifically says a lot of a lot of these. Japan has merged as a safe haven for operators because blah 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 blah. And the interesting thing about this, right, is that I've often said this to you guys, and it's just my Brian and his rhetoric. I think actually a little bit of regulation isn't such a bad thing. If it's just at the very least to keep all of these exchange operators honest. So, hopefully we can get to that decentralized kind of exchange where we don't have to worry about exchange shenanigans. But that's probably down the road. So anyway, long and short of it here is I think China has come out as the big, big winner here. And I find that hilarious. Just me personally, Satoshi Nakamoto, that sounds awfully Japanese to me. And little coins like Mona coin and stuff like this, they're really catching on. I noticed a lot of people were kind of like, you better pay attention to this Mona coin. It's really catching on over there. So fascinating. It's beautiful to watch the evolution of this story. All right, so what do you say? Wait, if anything, what I do like, put this window away. What I do like is, keep bidding the price up so that when the correction does happen, well, it's not going to be so bad. 38.2 cleanup now is back to 4Gs. Gee whiz. A year ago, if we could say, well, market just cleaning itself up, it'll just have to settle around $4,000 a coin. We'd all fall off our goddamn seats. It's just so funny. It just makes you laugh. So, I don't know when the top is going to come, but, if anything, our trading rate right now, if this is the top, I doubt it. I still think that we probably have to get through this fork, see what the other side looks like. Before we really want to be quote unquote calling tops. But the bottom line here is, and this is interesting how now 38.2 support is actually there's Goldman Sachs bottom, but there's that nice, we talked a moment ago about candle bodies. Look at that. We got 3 bodies all in there. Boom, boom, boom. So this tail right here is huge, huge support. And I just find it interesting. That's the old sort of Amanda's penthouse level. So whatever the hell this top looks like, my hunch is, it's something, if this is the top, it's going to be something like this, which is good because what it means is, for the next 6 months, 8 months, I don't think we have to worry about Bitcoin, quote unquote, crashing. If you do, if you are, especially those people that have come to me and said, well, Brian, I'd like to go altcoin shopping, but I can't stomach going and buying all of my Bitcoin right here. I just say, average your way in. If anything, if you want to drill down to maybe like daily time frames and use things like 13-period moving average tags as a good sort of timing. I've talked to you guys before about that being a half decent trade location tool. But just spread your purchases out over time. I think what's going to end up happening here is, who knows? Maybe little old lady gets another fill up here. I don't know. But at some point the euphoria is going to wear off and we'll go through the topping process. And as I said, what I'm, ecstatic about is now even a crash scenario, kind of like the bubble bursting. And it was interesting because somebody had made reference and said that they did an article. They said, well, you could argue that Bitcoin did have a bubble and the bubble burst. And this is a new bubble. It's inflating right now, no doubt about it. Do we actually say the bubble is it in yet? How big does the bubble actually get to be a bubble? That's always a tough one. You know my thoughts. I simply don't want you chasing price here. But I do understand that, if you want to buy alts and you want to sort of finance it with Bitcoins, maybe just try and average your way in through here to get a nice average price for Bitcoin, and assuming that it's going to be up and down over this period. And maybe it'll just keep going up and your averages will sort of keep your price relatively realistic. All right, so maybe spend a couple minutes looking at some alts. I don't know. I guess we have the daily brief request. We could do some things there. Who's this? Guest 805. Hey, Brian, I signed up for the pre-registration there. Guy Troy, that was part of this, made the recommendation to get into this. Well, that's cool. Welcome, Miss Guest 805. If you just do decide to join the site and you watch this later on, you're going to be like, well, cool. He's talking about me. I'm Guest 805. I don't know. But anyway, welcome. Hope you make yourself at home on the site. Did the guys see that volume on Doge? Yeah, that's an interesting one, eh? Did you go and ask me to look at it in here? Probably not. Where did we leave off? Anybody remember? We tried to get through a whole bunch of these. There's Digi, NEM, Newmont Mining. Actually, be interesting to look at a gold stock. Let's see what Newmont looks like. All right, what do we got here? Well, why don't we look at a little bigger time frame? Daily. Maybe we'll get this like on a weekly. There's a letter of the alphabet that we generally don't like seeing. Does anybody know what that letter is? How about ADX, Brian? From Sarah Weisner. Hello, Sarah Weisner. Oh, I suppose I should. Oh, yeah, there it is. Hey, Daniel, you're on both places. Daniel, you're on YouTube and you're in the lounge here? Cheater. Anyway. All right, so once upon a time in a land far, far away, we said there is, generally speaking, when you're trading, there's a letter of the alphabet that you really don't want to see if you are a bull. And anybody know what that letter is? Casey got it. That's always good. Generally speaking, M's aren't good. Right? Boom, 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 boom. Ouch. That's not a good sign. As well here, when we look at the profile, clearly there's value high. It looks to me like the market is asking whether it's accepting back down into value. And who can tell me the name of the setup I'm thinking about right now? Hogue. All right, well, you're heading in a good direction. Mr. Hoagland, 80%. Yeah, so the 80% rule says that if we accept back down into value 80% of the time, we got to go down and tag value low. Ouch. So that's generally not good. And what do you guys think out of Europe? Stuff going on there. Do you think that's going to lead to more economic activity or less economic activity? Hot? Like bullets. In my opinion, I think bullets are about to start flying. Generally speaking, when bullets are flying, do we do a lot of business or do we not do as much business? So keep in mind, Spain is the fourth largest economy in the Eurozone. So in North America, breaking into a civil war. Would that be good for the U.S. economy or maybe not so good? Yeah, and I've been fucking Euro bear for quite a while here, right? So there's the euro trade. We've been following this for quite a while. Have you seen that before? No bueno. If you're a euro bull, no bueno. But the interesting thing is, who do you think this actually benefits? Does it benefit anybody? Yeah, but how about companies within Europe? Yeah, well, and see, it's stuff like this and the U.S. indictments and stuff. That's what I think is causing Bitcoin buying right now today. But who's this going to benefit? Does anybody actually benefit from this? And buy when. What are we supposed to be doing in the stock market? Buy when it what? Buy when it snows? Yeah. So is it getting near that time of year? So it sounds to me like countries and companies that do business in euro but have absolutely nothing to do with Spain would probably benefit from this. Is there any country in Europe that does a bit of overseas business with the United States that they have maybe cars that Americans like to drive that maybe they're going to get a bit of a sales boost because their products are going on sale right now? See where I'm going with this? So, I well, the problem with Volkswagen is they're mired in controversy right now. I don't know whether I'd touch them with a 10-foot pole. But companies like Audi, is Audi a public company? I think they would probably do pretty well. BMW, Mercedes, I bet you they're going to do well out of this. So, yeah, that's a kind of multinationals I'd be thinking about. Saab, right? Well, Sweden's not part of the euro, are they? Anyway, stuff like that. So gold stocks, if the euro looks like this, that is supposed to be a growth proxy against the US. To me, it actually makes sense why the gold is looking the way that it is, which is interesting because that, in a way, I suppose what it does is the US dollar's been getting its butt kicked lately, eh? So it's going to let the US dollar, sort of clean itself up technically and get ready for the next round of devaluations. Anyway, so yeah, I would kind of avoid gold right now. It looks a bit tough. We did buy about $5,000 worth of the GOLD as more of like a hedge of our holdings. So ironically enough, if Bitcoin comes off, and the gold comes off, we're probably going to see that just sort of tread water. Let's see what the old, yeah, gold looks awfully toppy too. Probably 80% play, same sort of thing. So if anything, actually, the bullion looks relatively muted. The gold stocks, they must have just gotten too far ahead of themselves. This was just too much of a rally. And I suppose, I see these gaps down here, especially right there. That one looks awfully juicy. I don't know whether that one might. Yeah, it looks like it's been filled in. But definitely down in here. That one right there. All right, what else we got here? CPC on Bitterix. CPC on Bitterix. Oh boy, Trainwreck Central. Looks like there was a nice bottom that came in here. Big rally. If you traded this, way to go. Hats off. Kind of disappointing, great analogy of Hoag's value trade again. So tried to accept above value. Market said, do I really want to be a value? Nope, I do not. So got to go back down to value low. So here we are down to value low. Suppose if we look at this thing in big picture. Yeah, geez, somebody took an awful big position here. So somebody was asking about Doge and a massive volume spike today. keep in mind, massive volume spikes, that doesn't mean that this thing's going to bottom. And you can see, oh boy, it didn't. We also have to understand, too, that, for every up, there's a down. There might have been people who are actually short, let's say, these moves, and were doing nothing more than covering those shorts on this rally. But if anything, what this leads to, and actually the level oneers are going to be doing this week. But does anybody see something happening here? Something's happening here. I don't mind. What's that song? That's a good song. Oh, but if I play it, they're going to get all upset at me. Can't do it. That's too bad. There's something happening here with OBV and price. Anyone? What does that kind of look like? Yeah. A divergence. So if this actually does bottom above there and turn back up and confirm this W, then this, in my opinion, is an absolute screaming buy. Usually OBV divergences, like if this thing actually confirms, they're like just literally licenses to print money. So keep a close eye out for this. This is an interesting opportunity. You can see we're below value here. And you can see there's not a hell of a lot of selling going on here. So we just want to see some sort of signs that the bull is still alive. And I suppose with Doge, right, same sort of thing. Just because you have a big volume bar itself, that doesn't necessarily mean the bottom is in. This happens a lot in the markets. But this divergence, oh boy, this is really painting interesting opportunity. It's stupidly oversold, so, that speaks for itself. Looks like we even have a bullish divergence that confirmed in here. You'll notice that after the bullish divergence confirmed, no structural bull signal ever came in. So if anything, you're just patiently waiting for that nice polite W. It looks like there was a potential sort of inside bar reversal that just never played out, and it got stopped out. Happens if you're going to try and pick bottoms. Got to be prepared for setups to fail. But if anything, I think what you really got to wait for is show me some W's here. Show me some signs that this thing isn't just going to slowly melt down and break down. So one to definitely keep an eye on, no doubt about it. And pretty cheap. The question ultimately is, what are these guys doing? Are they still alive? Is the blockchain still working? And if it is an ongoing entity, if anything, this is a fantastic sort of, you're just going to nibble, just sort of keep, over time. Don't do it all at once, just nibble away. And if and when this thing does wake up, oh boy, there's a lot of money to be made here. Interesting to see that divergence. Look at that, eh? It's been going on for quite a while. So it's a cheapo, no doubt about it. If these guys can ever get their act together, look out. Interesting thing is if you hunted longs off of here, that's 13. So you actually were able. So what a coincidence. Does everybody see the little W that came in here? So down, up, down, breakout, right? Can you see that? It's almost like the market's made like a rectangle here. Can you see that breakout level right there? Right there, that bar right there. And also, too, this clothesline was higher than that clothesline. So really interesting level right there, right? In fact, I think the buy signal was that day right there. Could have used a moving average check as sort of your entry. Talked to somebody recently about that. And notice, what a coincidence, right? 13. You get the impression that maybe TRI people stopped this bull? Look at that. Right on the double, eh? Doink. We're not that powerful, are we? I hope not. Do you think that's a coincidence? I don't. So, I think what happened here is, yeah, it might have been Dav, it just might have been. It wouldn't surprise me. But anyway, long and short of it here, double off of the bottom, stopped the bull. And as we said, it rolled over, came back down into value, and here we are the other side. So keep your eyes peeled for the W. Right? Let's keep an eye out for it. If and when it comes, there's probably money to be made here. And I do like the fact that the OBV just keeps going here. So, really interesting little coin. EXP, good idea from Jamie. EXP. Oh, not bad. Definitely down the bottom end of his range. Hopefully you guys now you have witnessed what a seasonal blow off top looks like and what a seasonal cleanout looks like. The irony of it all is that this entire year now you can see was pretty cliche, eh? Not really anything out of the ordinary here. Getting below value, that's always encouraging. Coming into this big notch, we're sort of back at this little pock here. The original double bottom, so that's sexy. You can see cute little divergence that's coming in here. You can see the OBV is trying to turn. I think we talked about this recently because this volume pattern looks familiar. So they were able to break this high. So that broke the the bulls being asleep. And it looks like the bears now have fallen asleep, but you can see the bears also have woken up here a bit. Looks like the bulls might fall back to sleep again. 1, 2, 3 low highs. If we get a bull day less than this bar, bulls are going to fall back asleep here. And maybe they have to go and wash these lows here to generate the liquidity to keep their bloodthirsty evilness happy. I don't know. I do like the divergences. I think you got this cute little one. I don't think that's played out. So, especially off of this little one here, I would probably be thinking, this range in here. Probably start watching these levels. Notice this high here lines up with 38.2, which is the middle part of the notch. I could easily see a rally up into this area. So that's like 0.0005. And we're sitting at 0.00032. So kind of like what we just showed you, eh? Guys who could get some on the books at 0.25 are going to be able to get their doubles if it gets up to this 5 level. So it shouldn't shock us that the lows here are 0.026, right? And if anything, I'd almost want, if I was going to try and get in on this thing, to be thinking down in here so that 38.2 gives me that double. Yeah, we'll see what happens. Moving averages haven't turned, so I still think we're still trending down. But internally, we actually have an OBV divergence here as well. There's an active one that's actually been confirmed. Remember we said bulls woke up here. So we're just watching to see if the bulls, fall back asleep here. But that's encouraging, right? You got a momentum, Willie Stupid, OBV div, bit of structure here. I suppose probably the momentum trade, really, believe it or not, is just a breakout of that high. I suppose we could probably hunt, like this was probably a reload zone right in here. You could have taken this little inside bar reversal, this fractal right here. If we go down to the hourly chart, that's probably like, where is that? Interesting weekly chart. Oh, excuse me. All right, so we don't have the best looking floor, but you can see someone's tried to put in a bottom through here. No gaps, so that's encouraging. Whatever gaps are where they filled them in. little bit of a gap right there. Isn't that interesting? Just below these lows. Right around this 30 area. You guys see that right there? I don't know whether I'd want to be chasing this or just working my bid down there. Yeah, so let's see what this is. So hopefully everybody can see Kevin would be active right around here, right? 0.00028. This feels like deja vu. Didn't we already talk about this? So into that level, bottom rally. A little bit of a head and shoulders. Probably I wouldn't even be surprised if this is like this now. So you can almost see they're like stair stepping the market higher here. I really like that gap right there. And that would be 70.2. Right. So you want to be a cheap ass, right? Try and see if you can sneak in off that gap level. Not a bad little trade. I do see though, you notice this tails right here, right? So no real solid floor here like this stuff. So, if this story falls apart, fully expect these tails to be eaten. All right. RLC and GNT. The good part about this whole market now is I actually argue, and this is sort of why I do this sort of nanny nibbles kind of thing. This is almost like shooting fish in a barrel right now. I think on a lot of these, if you just went and just bought like a random list of them down in here, there's so many of them that look like this. And you just held on to them until the next summer. Buy when it snows, sell when it goes, that kind of stuff. Over the next couple months, it's going to be a bunch of back and forth. But on balance, it's kind of like if you just sold almost any altcoin through the summer, you would have done fine. RLC, let's see what you got here. I like how there's a nice rising volume trend. Still no serious bottom here yet, though. Probably we need to test these lows again. Nice to see the moving averages are crossing back up. Looks like momentum is trying to turn here. Will that show a little bit better? There we go. So there to there to there. So you can see momentum is breaking out. Nice little Willie. Even a nice little bullish divergence on Willie there. Inside bar reversal, and if you had the balls to take that trade, not a bad little trade there. I suppose on lower time frames, if you looked at this, there might have been a little double bottom there. And counter trend rally expectations. Probably that's going to be a resistance point in there. So notice there's 38.2. So I could easily see a rally against all these wicks. Right. It's cool that we're back in this type of market because I remember, and I love to make reference to this. Me and Kevin last February were just sitting doing these charts going, oh, yeah, that wick is probably going to be eaten in that one, and they're going to test that high, and that's a fib level. And, and then what happens? The bull comes in the spring, and they just blast these things higher. So, my hunch is probably, some action like, I did these saucer bottoms for you recently. It's probably going to look something like this down the road. All right, GNT probably looks somewhat the same. GNT. GNT. Yeah, basically the same. And, this should be a good lesson for a lot of you guys. Brian's taking little nibbles here saying, don't expect a hell of a lot. Think library credits. I will be buying more down the road. I think I bought a bunch of this in here. if this thing does decide to go in W, then I'll be more than happy to go and add to the position, but there's just no hurry here to do anything. I always like to grab a little bit of these off of the test of the lows. And what'll be really interesting is my hunch this is now going to be major resistance. So just as long as I haven't shot my whole wad, I can still buy some more as we go along here. Let's hope this doesn't have to get too ugly. Okay, I'm not quite sure. Is ERC20 an actual coin, or is that like a type of token issued by? That's not anything, right? Yeah, okay, nothing good. Okay, somebody was asking in the Hangout lounge here some ideas, so might as well placate you guys. Oh boy, you've been typing up a storm here. So let's see. Did anybody ask for me to look at anything in particular? Did some FTC earlier. Oh boy. No, went all screwy. Don't anybody type anything. I gotta get all these symbols. All right. Well, so that's up there. FTC. FTC. Feather coin. Well, nice counter trend rally. I think that makes sense. Kevin says, oh, I think I saw a girl that's just only okay. Yeah, we were talking about that earlier. All right. Okay. Amp. Amp margins. Yeah. Well, I think those day trade margins sure seemed awfully low. Okay. AMZ. Okay, so we'll do AMZ after and we'll call it a day. So, Feathercoin, what can you say? Top of the range? Bottom of the range? Anybody, how about you YouTubers? Anybody over on YouTubers? Has Il Afel and Gian Town. That was just brutal. Bagra! Hey, there's Bagra! How you doing, Bagra? I like saying that guy's name. He's over on YouTube. All right, anyway. So let's see if any of the YouTubers know this. About how often, roughly, does market range versus trend? I am good. How are you? Well, I'm much better than I see you, Bagra. Hi. Yeah, and I must be totally butchering that. Is that you, Sarah? Is that you? Is that the same person? Because you were asking if I was going to look at ADX, wasn't it? But anyway, it doesn't matter. So how often does this silly market range versus trending? Anybody? Anybody in the lounge here now? Anybody? 80%. Thank you very much. So it really shouldn't surprise us to see assets do this. And guys like Mountain Man, right? Brandon Rigo, pretty good crude oil trader. He's just going to be simply looking to buy down at the bottom end of the range. There's his level there, 61.8. And conversely, he's going to look to sell at the top end of the range. So when you see an asset that looks like this, you really shouldn't be surprised. This is actually the way assets are supposed to act. So have you guys ever seen my cat GIF, ping pong GIFs? Right. Perfect example. Why did the market fail here? Well, quite literally, this was a reload short zone. It was up against a lot of previous highs. In essence, think of it this way. There are a lot of people that bought this thing up here, right? And then the story falls apart. Actually, it was funny. Sjord found a funny GIF that had a picture of a couch. And it said it was in a man's office, right? And it said couch for sale. I think it was like fairly heavily used or something along those lines. And it was in a traders forum. Isn't that funny? So hopefully everybody understands the sleeping on the couch reference. But the point here is there's a lot of trap bulls up here. And this rally did nothing more than it freed them. It got them off of sleeping on the couch. And really, that shouldn't shock us. That's basically what has to happen in capitalism. So not a big surprise that this rally failed where it did. Of course, this is crypto, right? So somebody probably injected a bit of FUD into the equation. And can you see right now that it's basically sitting in a buying zone now? This is actually a reload zone of a reload zone. So if you like this name and you believe in this story, the market's actually giving you a bit of an opportunity right now. What's really interesting about this one is it's got a lot of history. This thing's been around forever. And it's, I often suggest to students, find me weekly W's. Can everybody see that this might, if it can break out through the top here, man, this is going to be one hell of a W. Right? That'll probably start showing up on things like the monthly chart, which is good in my opinion, because, somebody made reference. I thought it was hilarious. Yeah, everybody can see the higher time frame W here that's trying to form now. But I thought it was really funny that you can literally see the evolution of the crypto space, even with like old timers. So there's one guy, Peter Davies, Peter Brandt, I think is his name. And he first came into the space. He was like, "Oh, this is a Ponzi. It's a total crap. You're all gonna just get destroyed at like $2,000-3,000 a coin." Now, and I find this hilarious. Now his his rants are, "Oh, crypto investors avoid shitcoins. Focus on high cap coins that make highs 98. Blah 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 blah." So now this guy, this old timer guy, now is all of a sudden now an expert on how to do all this, and you can literally see him moving down the food chain. I find that hilarious. Anyway, crazy world we live in. So the point that I just wanted to make with that was here's those AMP margins for you, Michael. This actually really surprised me. $400 to strap on an ES day trade. That seems awfully low. But anyway, nonetheless, there it is. It is what it is. So the point that I would just make there about Peter is, no offense to Peter, but I don't think he's got it right. And actually, my interpretation right now is that Bitcoin's not doing itself any favors with all these damn forks. Yeah, and the interesting thing is the level 2ers just did a big old whack at WD GAN. And GAN actually suggests that everything has its own sort of vibration rate, and the path of an asset is actually almost sort of, I'm not dissing Peter, but I just find it a little amusing that he's gone, if anything, almost feel like it's a little bit of a trap he's falling into here. I don't know whether he really understands this space. Honestly, guys, if investing in Bitcoin right now versus investing in something like XLM, I think you could easily make 10, 20 times as much buying that XLM here if you just hold the two for the next year or so. It's night and day, the difference in returns. So I don't necessarily agree with his thesis. Obviously, there's shit coins and, but in a weird sort of way, what I've found in this space is the stuff that people love to hate actually turns out to do pretty darn well. You know, the interesting thing, guys, everybody should remember this. There was a time when people called Dash like a total fraud. And then all of a sudden, oh, now Dash is all the next best thing since sliced bread. Ripple was the coin that was supposed to be for the banks. And I remember one guy a few years ago said, yeah, it's a totally awesome remittance system, but don't look to make money trading Ripple. So, you know, take everything with a grain of salt in this space. And I don't know whether, you know, just, you know, what the flavor du jour is quote unquote the blue chip coins. I don't know whether that's such a good sort of way to make money in this space. I don't think that actually makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I mean, obviously do your own due diligence, and you know, there are definitely, you know, coins that, you know, for instance, if you're looking on Yobit and you look at a coin and then you go and you find that the coin doesn't even have a blockchain, well, that's problematic. And it turns out that you know, it's not even actually really a cryptocurrency. Right. Um, but I think that there's fortunes going to be made all over the place. And the irony of it all is I don't even think really the market even has a clue who the ultimate winner of this space is going to be. And, you know, I mean, let's call returns, right? You can sit in Bitcoin. Are you going to see it double from here? That's a pretty big bet. Could you go and buy some of these altcoins and doubles and triples while we're waiting for that? Oh, man, yeah. Looked at one on Bitrex with no tweets in 18 months. Well, definitely. Do your due diligence, no doubt about it, Garrett. But I just don't think, and one thing that I am seeing a lot of recently is all of a sudden now on Wall Street, there's all these hedge funds. Boom. Oh, wow. Look at them. They just all popped up. There's like 100 of them now. And they're all buying the same crap, right? Oh, buy the top 10 coins, right? You'll make them fortune. It just feels like awfully like, wow, we're coming to an apex here. And this is a bit bothersome. If anything, I really don't want to see the altcoins take off here. Because then that really does paint a blow off top scenario in the whole space for me. So I would actually rather altcoins just, you know, calm down. Let's keep the hate on. Everybody fall in love with Bitcoin. Great, wonderful. If anything, Peter's kind of commentary, perfect, right? I think, no offense, but, and then somebody said, I think that's a great idea. And I said, okay, so which Bitcoin is it that I'm supposed to be following now? So please be cognizant that, you know, Bitcoin's forking here. I think there's a lot of risk in Bitcoin itself. You know my opinion about these long-term cycles. Enjoy it, make money, have fun, but I don't think we need to be falling in love with these things. And especially get yourself free coins. Once you got a free coin, what the hell? And just go and enjoy yourself. All right, kind of babbling here, so I'm not even really quite sure if people watching this are going to get any value out of it. Hope you guys are enjoying my rant here tonight. Michael asked us to look at one more, and then we'll take off here. So AMZ, what the hell you got for us here, buddy? AMZ. And everybody should know that, this is not a cryptocurrency. Oh, Amazon stock? You know, the interesting thing is Amazon stock just looks like cryptocurrency. Cryptocurrency looks like Amazon. I actually think that crypto, in a weird sort of way, is leading this market. If anything, level tours, we just did this. Do we have any level tours here? Kevin? Casey, are you in level 2? Bodie and Benjamin. Michael, of course, you should know this. Let's see if Michael can remember this. What does this look like an example of? Just finished level 1. Okay. What does level tours? What's Kevin? Let's see if you can sharpen your spike. What does that kind of looks like? How about gap and something? And actually, that's an hourly chart. Let's see if the daily chart looks the same. Yeah. So what does that look like? And I think if anything, it's probably giving us a price objective here. That's a gap and go. So you can literally go from here to here. And if we tick one tick up through this high, there's your price objective way up there. That was really interesting. I was reading on Friday that we're starting to get back into using funny metrics to value these stocks again. And what a coincidence. We got into the business of using funny metrics to measure the value of these stocks the last fucking demographic cycle pivot. It's remarkable. Well, the problem is, what are you going to buy? I mean, I suppose, Michael, if you wanted to, you could buy this call up here with the anticipation that the market's going to go up there. But you can't really buy at the money calls because the implied volatility would be through the roof. Eh? You could maybe write a near-term call that's just got a world of volatility built into it, and then buy the deferred call, so play it as a spread. Yeah. So I don't know whether options is really the great way to go. Anyway you shake it, this thing, it's tough to say. Tomorrow maybe half the White House is indicted, right? That'll knock the market. And if anything, now that we're into that time period, we should keep an eye on what's going on over here. Let's see how these futures are acting heading into the overnight session here. So, me personally, my knee-jerk reaction would be to sell that kind of news. And the interesting thing is, it's sell the rumor, not sell the news. So I don't know what the news is, but I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, if we have a whole bunch of indictments, and tomorrow's just all about half of the White House is going on trial, obviously that's going to knock the market down a bit. So really, the long and short of it here is, does Amazon tick up through this high? If it does, then I think really more aptly this would just be a straight futures trade. And really what that probably is if you wanted to trade the futures, is you just trade the NASDAQ 100. Oh, this might be a gap here. Oh, yeah, it is. So you see that? I have a gap there. So you could apply basically the same principle. And you can see, if anything, what this is going to create is one of those bull-bear battle lines. So I don't know how deep this pullback's going to be. Let's say, I don't know, let's say, maybe we're down into here or something, right? Break above would be gap and go, buy signal. Whatever this bar is, if it's a red bar, and down here, break below would be inside bar failure, sell signal. So that's probably the way I'd look at it. And of course, isn't this already in divergence? Not quite. So it never did go into divergence. It's interesting. The S&Ps, they're like total in divergence. And that might even make more sense because everybody, you can see the S&Ps. If we look at the yummies, they're probably the most dangerous here. Well, interesting. So it's the S&Ps that are most dangerous, but you can see stupidly overbought, no doubt about it. Divergence has not been confirmed in here yet, though, either. You can see value, right? You can see this stock market. And really, that would make sense. I would really like to see a nice 5% haircut in the market. Just 23,000, knock it down to 22,000. Just knock a couple, couple thousand points off this market. I think that would actually be really healthy. Come back, fill in this gap, right? Back to value high, playing here, back to the 200 SMA. It's coming. I totally think it's coming. The funny thing is with the stock market is you just got to wait for it. It's just not here yet. So. Okay, I think I'm talked out. Hope you guys enjoyed that. We had a cute little, could you end off with a good old ping pong? You could end off. Hey, there you go. Range traders, be sure to identify your reload zones. And if you want to play the game, step up and grab your ping pong paddle. All right. Have a good night, everybody. All the best. Bye for now.